for this weekly Mahabharat discussion. If you remember, last week we discussed how the Pandavas were invited for the gambling match. Duryodhan got envious of Pandavas' prosperity and success after the Rajasuya sacrifice. So he went and informed his father Dhritarashtra that I want to win over all the wealth. So Shakuni suggested that let us have a gambling match. Invite everyone without fighting anyone, without killing anyone. We can win over everyone. Vaidehi,
I had a question.
Yes.
My question was that why are the Pandavas called Pandavas?
Because they are the sons of Pandu. Sons of Pandu are called Pandavas. Sons of Dhritarashtra are called Dhartarashtras. Sons of who else? Vrishni or Yadus are called Yadavas. That's how it is. You can derive names from Sanskrit names. Okay. So in this way, the Pandavas were invited for the gambling match, and Shakuni was expert in cheating play. So every time he would throw the dice, he would win and Yudhishthir would lose. So in this way, one by one, Yudhishthir lost all his wealth, all his property, all the gold and diamonds that he had accumulated. And after all wealth was lost, he started staking his brothers one by one. He lost his brothers, and finally he lost his wife, Draupadi. So then Dushasan dragged Draupadi into the assembly, and Karna ordered him to strip her of her clothes. So in this way, Draupadi was insulted, but none of the elders spoke anything against Dushasan or Duryodhan. And in this way, when Draupadi was attempted to be humiliated, Krishna miraculously came there, protected her chastity, dignity, and in this way saved. So when all this incident happened, Dhritarashtra finally realized that I have done a big blunder. So he gave back all the property back to the Pandavas. And then they went back. And then Duryodhan said, okay, we lost everything again after so much effort. You call them again for another final gambling match. So again, they were called. And this time the condition was whoever wins, they will get all the property and wealth. Whoever loses will have to go to the forest for 13 years. And after 13 years, let us see what to do. So in this way, one final game was played and Pandavas lost again. And the condition was 12 years you stay in the forest, 13th year you stay incognito. And if anyone discovers them in the 13th year, you have to again go through the 12-year period. So they were sent to the forest, and then we saw how Narad Muni came there and predicted that at the end of the 13th year, there will be a war and all the Kauravas will be destroyed. And then he said, and then he went away. So everyone got scared. All the Kauravas got scared. So one day, Karna suggested that, okay, now that they are in the forest, let us do one thing. Let us go and attack them. Because now they are without any weapons, without any army. If we fight with them and attack them, we can kill them. So everyone thought that's a good idea. So they prepared the army, all the Duryodhan, Dushasan, Shakuni, Karna and all prepared, and were about to go to the forest where Pandavas were staying. So Vyasdev came to know that Duryodhan is planning this. So he came in front of the Kauravas and said, look, if you do something now, you will face destruction. Better you go back now. Don't unnecessarily interfere in their affairs. So when Duryodhan heard this, he got scared. They thought if we don't obey Vyasdev's order, then he may curse us. So they all went back and gave up the idea of attacking Pandavas in the forest. Then Vyasdev came back to Hastinapur and informed Dhritarashtra that your son is having evil plans. He has got so much envy towards the Pandavas that he wants to destroy them, even when they are in the forest. So you better advise him that he should go and make friendship with the Pandavas. maybe he should go to the forest and serve the Pandavas menially. And then Yudhishthir will accept him again. And then all the enmity can be resolved. So Dhritarashtra just nodded his head, but he didn't approve of the idea. So Vyasadeva said, very soon, in a few days, Maitreya Rishi is going to come, and he is going to advise Duryodhan. If he doesn't listen to the advice, he will curse him. So as predicted, Maitreya came, and Duryodhan didn't show any respect to him, and Maitreya cursed him that Bhima is going to kill you by smashing your thighs during the war. So in this way, Maitreya Rishi left. So all these events are happening in Hastinapur. Now in the forest, Pandavas are slowly settling down. They built their small cottage. They were surrounded by various sages and the Brahmanas, and every day Yudhishthir would spend his time. All the Pandavas would spend their time by listening to the discourses, the lectures given by the sages, Dhaumya Rishi, and all the sages that were accompanying them. And in this way, Yudhishthir and Pandavas were happy. Yudhishthir especially was happy because he enjoyed listening to spiritual discourses. So every day they would spend, the Brahmanas would recite various mantras, various sacrifices they would perform, and things were gradually settling down. So one day, from Dwarka, Krishna and Balaram, when they came to know that the Pandavas were cheated in the gambling match and now they have gone to the forest, so Krishna decided to pay a visit to the Pandavas in the forest. So Krishna, Balaram, and all the main leaders, they came all the way from Dwarka to the place where Pandavas were staying. I think it was called Dvaitavan. So they came and they spent some time. So Krishna tried to console. He said, how could Duryodhan do this? How could he cheat all of you? And how could the elders not do anything? How can they simply remain passive listeners in spite of so much adharma happening? So Krishna was really angry. Balaram was also angry. He said, if I would have been there, I would have definitely not allowed this to happen and I would have killed everyone immediately. But unfortunately, I couldn't come because I was engaged in something else at that time. So he tried to console the Pandavas and Draupadi and said, whoever has insulted Draupadi, whoever has cheated the Pandavas, they will definitely suffer the reactions after 13 years are over. And if they don't return the kingdom back to you, then definitely there will be war and I will ensure that all are dead. So in this way, Krishna consoled everyone. So they asked, what were you busy with? When this thing was happening here, you said you were busy with something. What was that? So then Krishna explained how there was a battle with Shalva in Dwarka. So there was this demon named Shalva who was a friend of Shishupal. So Shalva, after the Shishupal's death, he wanted to take revenge against the Yadus. You will find this story in the Krishna book also, the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto. So Shalva wanted to take revenge against Krishna. So he did a lot of tapasya and he prayed to, I think, Lord Shiva, and he got a weapon, several weapons, and he had a ship, airship, something like an aeroplane, which was made of iron. And this airship could move around anywhere, anytime, according to the desire of the pilot. So it had all kinds of weapons. It had all kinds of armies. So with this weapon, Lord Shiva. With this weapon, he attacked Dwarka. So Krishna said, because Shalva had attacked Dwarka and he had burnt a lot of gardens, he was killing people. So I had to be there at that time. I couldn't come out. So all our army, all our leaders are busy fighting with Shalva. The battle lasted for several days. So that's the reason I couldn't come to Hastinapur and be with you and protect you. So he said, I'm really sorry. If I would have been there, I would have definitely ensured these things wouldn't have. But anyway, he said, ultimately destiny is supreme. Whatever has to happen will happen. Although Krishna is the controller of all destiny, but he is acting like an ordinary human being here. And he said, what can we do? Providence and destiny is supreme. And they will also suffer for their actions. In this way, Krishna consoled everyone. So then Krishna and Balaram left back to Dwarka. And Krishna said, I'll definitely come back again. So then one day, this Rishi, Markandeya Rishi, visits. I think this is a wrong image. This is a Mohini Murti wala image, I think. So Markandeya Rishi comes to the forest to meet the Pandavas. So who is Markandeya Rishi? Markandeya Rishi has been living for a long time. He lives for several yugas. He is one of the oldest sages. So he has seen all the incarnations, all the right from Swayambhuva Manu's time. Yeah, conquered death. Not exactly conquered death, but he had a long lifespan. So when that Rishi came to meet the Pandavas, everyone got up. He had the effulgence. He had a bright effulgence, and he looked like a young man, although he was the oldest. He looked like a young man. So when he came, all the Pandavas got. Can we mute the microphone, please? So out of respect, the Pandavas got up and welcomed him, offered him nice worship and seat. And Markandeya Rishi saw them and he started smiling. Yeah, he smiled at the Pandavas. And everyone wondered, what happened? Why is he smiling at us? So Markandeya Rishi said, I understand the difficulties and the pain you are undergoing, but I'm simply remembering Lord Ram. Lord Ram was also exiled into the forest for 14 years. And he was also personification of Dharma. And he was supposed to become the king of the planet. That's the time when he was exiled into the forest. He was a victim of injustice. So I am finding that your condition is also similar to the Pandavas, similar to Lord Ram. And Lord Ram regained his kingdom after 14 years. Similarly, I can assure you that you will also regain your kingdom after the end of 13 years. So Markandeya Rishi had seen Lord Ram also. Lord Ram had appeared several millions of years ago, before Pandavas. But he remembered all the incidents and all the events, and he shared all those things. He also gave a lot of good instructions to Yudhishthira and Pandavas, and they were happy.
Roji, how many years ago Rama appeared?
Yes.
Roji, how many years ago did Lord Rama appear?
Lord Ram appeared several millions of years ago, approximately 18 to 20 million years ago, which is about 1.8 to 2 crore years ago. We will give the calculation some other time, the different Yuga calculations, and in which Treta Yuga he came. All those calculations is a big subject. We can discuss it some other time. Yeah, Riyansh, you want to say something?
Yes, Prabhuji. Why they are called Pandavas means
Panch means 5. So they are called Pandavas, 5 members.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that information. Okay. So after Markandeya Rishi left, they all again came together, sat together. One day, Draupadi started recalling all the atrocities she had to undergo. Bhima, Arjuna, all were sitting there and they just couldn't tolerate the pain they were going through. So Draupadi started accusing Yudhishthir, saying, because of you, we have to suffer all this. You went for the gambling match. You didn't have to go to it. And then you lost it. And then you lost everyone. You lost all your wealth. You lost your brothers. You lost me. And I had to suffer all these. Why didn't you allow anyone to fight them? Why do you simply suffer every time? In the name of dharma, why should we suffer everything? When we know that there is adharma happening, we are supposed to fight adharma. And we are supposed to establish dharma. So when you had able brothers, why didn't you fight them? Why did you allow adharma to happen? Because of your inaction, now we are suffering. And look at my condition. I had to suffer so much. In this way, Draupadi started pouring out her emotions and anger. She said, as a Kshatriya, we are supposed to protect dharma. We can't simply tolerate all situations and allow adharma to happen. So when Draupadi spoke, then others also started speaking. Bhima also spoke. He also started getting angry at Duryodhana and others. And he started accusing Yudhishthira again. You didn't allow me to fight. Otherwise, I would have crushed all of them and killed them on the spot. So Yudhishthira heard everything and he started speaking some moral instructions. And these are very important instructions. Please listen attentively and it can help us a lot if we can practice these instructions that Yudhishthira gave to the Pandavas, Draupadi and Bhima and others. They are very, very valuable instructions. So when Yudhishthira started speaking, everyone started attentively listening to him, including the sages and the brahmanas who had accompanied him. So let us see what those instructions are. So Yudhishthira says, when a weak man is oppressed by one who is more powerful, he should not display anger. The weak should always control their anger. So usually that's what happens, right? When someone does dadagiri against us, we get angry and we want to take revenge. Although we may not be able to take revenge immediately, we try to take revenge some other time. So in this case, the Kauravas are more powerful, Pandavas were weak comparatively. So Yudhishthira is saying we should always control our anger. Then he said, only fools praise anger, considering it equivalent to energy. The wise people keep anger at a distance. So just like you see in the movies, a hero is expressing anger and he's seen as a hero because he's always angry. He's fighting with people, killing people, hitting people, speaking harshly. That is considered heroic in society. And that is considered energetic. If you are a real man, if you are really fearless, then you should express your anger. But he's saying that wise people always keep anger at a distance. Next, Yudhishthira says, the man consumed by anger does not easily acquire generosity, dignity, courage, skill, and other attributes. Anger can destroy all these good qualities. Then he says, the forgiving man is always victorious. One who represses his anger, even when antagonized, rejoices in the next world. So one who can forgive others, that person actually becomes victorious in the future. And especially in the next life, he enjoys much more. So we may think by expressing anger, I will enjoy now. But that enjoyment is very less. One who controls his anger gets to enjoy much more in the future. That's what Yudhishthira is saying. Then he says, for this it is said that a wise man, whether strong or weak, and even if in difficulty, should always forgive his persecutor. So even the strong man who has the ability to destroy the opponents, he should also forgive. Learn to forgive. You remember the story of Haridas Thakur in the Chaitanya Charitamrita? Haridas Thakur was beaten in 22 marketplaces. And he was praying for the people who was beating them. He didn't say, may you die, I am cursing you. Yeah. He never said that. He was praying to Krishna, please forgive these people because they don't know what they are doing. And in this way, Krishna protected him. And similarly, the story of Ambarish also. Ambarish is also praying for Durvasa. Okay, next Yudhishthir says, let us first try for a peaceful settlement. If Dhritarashtra does not return our kingdom, then we will destroy the Kauravas. But let me not be the cause, O Draupadi. So in this way, Yudhishthira says, now that we have come into the forest, let us wait till the 13-year period gets over. After the 13-year period, if they don't return our kingdom, we will fight them and kill them, destroy them. But we should not be the cause of the war. Because war means so many people will be killed unnecessarily. Then he says, forgiveness and humility. Forgiveness and humility are the qualities of the self-controlled. They are eternal virtue. I shall therefore adopt them all the time. That is real virtue. Do not doubt virtue because you do not see its results. Without doubt, the fruits will manifest in time, as will the fruits of sin. It's a very important lesson. What we do good now, the result will come later, not immediately. If we do good actions, the good reactions will come later. If we do bad actions, the bad reactions will come later. So an intelligent man is not carried away by immediate results. Only foolish people think, अरे अभी मजा कर लो, कोई reaction नहीं है, let me enjoy. So intelligent people understand, they can see the future and they are not tempted by wrong acts. He gives an example, next slide. He says, the fruits of true virtue are permanent and will award us happiness. Therefore, we should not speak ill of God. We should understand Krishna's will, supreme will. So when we do good actions, virtuous actions, devotional actions for the pleasure of Krishna, the results are eternal and permanent. Other material reactions, good or bad, are temporary. We should always try to obey the order of God. And he says, let us pass our days here in peace. Better days are going to come. How? A farmer scatters seeds and waits for the harvest. In the same way, virtue and truth always bring results in time. Do not doubt this principle, O Draupadi. So if you have seen agricultural fields, before the rains, the farmer will plant the seeds in line, in rows, especially rice and other things you may have seen in Bombay, in Konkan area, In India, you see this rice fields. So they plant the seed in cereal lines. And when does the harvest happen? After the rainy season. So just before the rains, in June, July, farmers will plant the seeds. And in October, November, they will get the rice. So 4 months it takes to get the harvest. So Yudhishthira is saying, when we do virtuous acts, devotional acts, the reactions will come later. The good reactions come much later. Similarly, bad reactions also. So in this way, Yudhishthira gives a lot of good instructions, and finally everyone is pacified. Then after some days, Vyasadeva comes there to the forest and meets the Pandavas. So Vyasadeva says, look, after pacifying them and instructing them, he tells Yudhishthira in private. He takes Yudhishthira privately and tells him, now this 13-year period in exile, you should prepare for the war. You should accumulate all the knowledge you can, all the mantras and weapons you can. And in this way, you should get ready for the war. Don't waste time. So he tells Yudhishthira that do one thing. Let Arjun go to the heavenly planets. And from Indra and other demigods, he should learn all the important weapons and mantras. So Vyasadeva then teaches Yudhishthira the Pratismriti mantras. What are these mantras? Pratismriti mantras. By chanting this mantra, one can travel anywhere at any speed. So he teaches mantras to Yudhishthira, and he tells Yudhishthira, you should teach Arjun this mantra. Whenever you feel he should go. So Yudhishthira accepts the mantras, he respects Vyasadeva, offers his obeisances, and Vyasadeva leaves. So after a few days, Yudhishthira calls Arjun, and he tells Arjun, this is what Vyasadeva has told me, that you should go to heavenly planets and learn all the weapons and mantras and come back before the 13-year period gets over. Yes, Vyasa Guru wrote Mahabharat. So then Yudhishthira teaches the mantra to Arjun, the Pratismriti mantras. So as soon as Arjun receives the mantras, he gets ready to go. He takes the permission of everyone, takes the blessings of Yudhishthira, and very soon he's ready to go. And he starts chanting the mantra and he's traveling. He begins his travel in the northern direction. So he travels a lot and he's amazed the power of the mantras. So simply by chanting the mantra, Arjun is able to travel very fast, and he's astonished to see the power of the mantra. So after traveling a considerable distance, he meets Indra, and Arjun is overjoyed to meet Indra because Indra happens to be his father. And he requests Indra, please teach me all the weapons and martial skills to me. I have to serve my brothers and release them from the exile. So Indra says, definitely I will teach. Indra says, I will definitely teach you everything, but before I teach you, I want you to meet Lord Shiva. And from him, you should learn the Pashupatastra. After that, you can come to my place and I will teach you everything. So Arjun says, okay. And he gets ready to perform tapasya in order to please Lord Shiva. So Arjun begins his tapasya. Let us see how he performs tapasya. What kind of tapasya he does? Something similar to what Dhruva Maharaj did. You remember what Dhruva Maharaj did when he was 5 years old and went to the forest? Did a lot of tapasya for 6 months? Something similar. Yeah. So first month, what did Arjun do? Ate only fruits on every third day. Just imagine, once in 3 days, he was eating only fruit. This was the first month ka tapasya. Second month, ate only fruit once in every 6 days. So 6, 3 are 6, 6, 5 are 30. Only 5 times he ate throughout the month, a little fruit. Then third month, ate a fruit once in a fortnight, once in 15 days. That means he ate only twice in the whole month. Then fourth month, he lived only on air, standing on the tips of his toes with his arms upraised in this fashion. Arms upraised. So hardly he didn't eat anything, just by breathing. He bathed 3 times a day and kept his mind and senses under perfect control. As a result of his austerities, Arjun began to glow like the sun. This is interesting. The more we do tapasya, we gain a lot of power. In the Dhruva Maharaj pastime, we see how when Dhruva controlled his breath on the last 5th month, the whole universe got choked up. Because movement of air was restricted and the demigods got choked up. And then they went to Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu. So similarly, even in Hiranyakashipu's case, he was meditating, he was doing tapasya, intense tapasya. And he was also emitting big radiation. And then he gained a lot of power. So tapasya gives us a lot of power. When we control our senses, when we control our mind, and we followed regulated diet, regulated sadhana, then we start gaining a lot of power. Of course, we should use this power for the benefit of society, for service to Krishna, not like Hiranyakashipu to destroy the universe, torture the people. Hiranyakashipu also got a lot of power, but then he was a demon. He started torturing people with his power. But devotees, when they get power out of tapasya, they utilize that power to serve people and serve Krishna. That is the right application of power gained by tapasya. So in this way, Arjun began to glow like the sun. And then what happened? So the whole universe started getting heated up. The temperature in the universe started increasing. So all the demigods got worried. What happened suddenly? Who is this? Why is Arjun doing this? They thought, Arjun wants to become the king of heaven, grab the post of Indra. That's what they thought. So they went to Lord Shiva and informed him that, look, Arjun is doing this tapasya. We don't know what to do. And we are feeling hot now. Please do something. You know everything. Oh Mahadev, please do something and control the situation. So Lord Shiva smiled at them and said, don't worry. I know why Arjun is doing the tapasya. Don't think that he wants to grab your position, conquer you and defeat you. That's not his mission. I will go there and pacify him and satisfy his desire. So in this way, Lord Shiva assures them, and then he comes to the place where Arjun is performing his tapasya. He doesn't come directly as Lord Shiva. He is disguised as a hunter. He's dressed as a hunter. So here he is. So that time when Lord Shiva comes there was this animal. One wild animal, wild boar, came charging there and was planning to attack Arjun, who was doing tapasya. So Arjun noticed that this animal is about to attack me. So he took up his weapons and aimed his arrow to kill the wild boar. So at the same time, this Lord Shiva, who was dressed as a hunter, he also notices this wild animal and he is ready to kill the animal. He aims the arrow to kill the animal. So both of them, both Lord Shiva dressed as a hunter and Arjun, shoot the arrow simultaneously at the animal, and the animal is killed. So Arjun is surprised. He says, "Who are you? I was the one who took the aim first. So I am the one who killed the animal. Why did you interfere in my hunting?" So Lord Shiva says, "Come on. It was I who killed him first. I was the one who shot the arrow first, not you. I was the one who killed the animal. With my arrow killed the animal, not yours." So in this way, both start arguing. So Arjun decides to fight with him. And then both of them start fighting. So Arjun started releasing his arrows. And to his surprise, all the arrows had no effect on Lord Shiva. He kept on shooting arrows one after the other, hundreds of arrows, thousands of arrows. But none of the arrows was affecting Lord Shiva. Then he started releasing celestial arrows, mystical arrows with mantras, with greater power. That also didn't have any effect on Lord Shiva. Then he took other weapons. He took his gada, he broke trees, uprooted trees, and started charging at Lord Shiva, hitting him. He took the gada and he took his sword. Every time, every weapon he used, all the weapons got nullified and it didn't have any effect on Lord Shiva. So Arjuna was finally exhausted. He was wondering, who is this person? Who is he? Is he a demigod or who? What? So maybe he thought this is Lord Shiva. So what he did, he immediately created a deity of Shiva, a murti of Shiva from the sand, and he started offering flowers and prayers to this murti. And to his surprise, whenever he was offering flowers to this murti of Shiva, those flowers were falling at the feet of the hunter. So then he realized, oh, this person is my worshipable Lord, Lord Shiva. And he immediately fell Dandavat Pranams at the feet of Lord Shiva and offered his prayers. So Lord Shiva was very pleased with Arjun. This is how Arjun is fighting with Lord Shiva. So finally, Lord Shiva was very pleased with Arjun and he said, "What do you want?" So Arjun said, "Please give me your weapon, Pashupatastra, because very soon I will have to fight a war, a great war, where I will need your help." So Lord Shiva agrees. He said, "This weapon is the most powerful weapon. It can destroy the entire universe. But you should be careful. You should not use this weapon. You should not use this weapon against ordinary people. This weapon is a celestial weapon and you should use it only with superior warriors, superior fighters." So Arjun thanks Lord Shiva for the gift and he offers his praise and Lord Shiva goes away. So as soon as Shiva goes away, he saw Indra and all the demigods coming there. Yamaraj and Kuvera and many other demigods came there to take him. Indra came there. Indra was the chief. And Indra said, "Look, Arjun, now you are ready to go to the heavenly planets. And all these demigods have come to offer you gifts." So every demigod gives Arjun a gift. Yamaraj gave him his mace, Gada, very powerful Gada. Then Varuna gave his Nagapasha weapons, Nagapasha noose. It's made of Naga weapons. So you will find all these weapons used by Arjun in the Mahabharat war. Next, Kuvera gave his another weapon named Antardhan. all these mystical weapons he received. So after receiving all these gifts, Arjun boards the airplane of Indra. This is not the right image. This is the Yudhishthir Maharaja and the dog's image, the last pastime. So Arjun gets onto the plane of Indra, and both of them travel to. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Short. So in this way, Arjun begins the travel to the heaven. So we should remember that these planets, heavenly planets, planetary system, the hellish planetary system, and the 14 planetary systems. In the Bhagavatam, you will find that the universe is divided into 14 planetary systems. The higher you go, the greater the comfort level, luxury level, the quality of life, everything is super excellent in the higher planets. And when you come down lower and lower from the highest planet belongs to Lord Brahma, Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. Satyaloka, Tapoloka, Janaloka, Maharloka, then Swargaloka. Bhurloka, Bhuvarloka, and the lower planetary systems. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatal, Mahatal, Talatal, and Patal. 7 upper and 7 lower. And the earth is in the between, in the middle. So in those days, 5,000 years ago and earlier, there was interplanetary communication, interplanetary travel. You find so many cases where Arjun is going to higher planets, demigods from higher planets coming to the earth, like we saw during the Rajasuya sacrifice. So many demigods came to visit Yudhishthir's palace and participate in the Rajasuya sacrifice. And in the Krishna book, you will find one time Krishna and Arjun traveled to out of the universe to procure the sons of the Brahmana who were dying in Dwarka, 10 sons of Dwarka, the Brahmana in Dwarka. Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, it's just different planetary systems. Bhuloka is Earth, Bhuvarloka is little higher than Earth, below the Swarga. So interplanetary travel and interplanetary communication was a common feature in those days. And people used to travel not simply by aircraft all the time. The sages could travel simply by mantras. The Siddhas and Charanas and Vidyadharas and the Gandharvas, they can travel by the power of mantras. That's how powerful mantras are. You find Narada Muni's travel. He's always traveling all over the universe. Sometimes he's here on Earth, in Dwarka, sometimes in the higher planetary systems, the demigods planet Brahmaloka. He can travel anywhere. He even goes to Vaikuntha. He's called a transcendental spaceman. So we should not think all this all fiction. अरे किसने देखा है, किसको पता है, स्वर्ग है या नहीं, नरक है या नहीं. Sometimes people think that narak means these are all imaginary. Just to create fear in people, just to scare people so that they don't they behave nicely, they don't perform any wrong act. Therefore they have come up with the idea of heaven and hell. Actually heaven and hell don't exist. That's what they say. They don't be none of these people believe in the existence of heaven. But we should understand that within this planet Earth itself, on Earth itself, you will find life has so many different qualities of life. And there are countries who are very rich, like countries like America and all, Europe and America, where the quality of life is too high, too comfortable. And there are countries like, African countries or other poor countries where the life is very, very difficult, very miserable. You don't have proper food to eat, no medicines, no house proper. And people are really poor. Even in India, you find some people are like that. So if within Earth, within one planet or within one country, you have different types of lifestyle, from highest lifestyle and to the lowest lifestyle, most comfortable lifestyle to the most miserable lifestyle. Why can't this variation exist throughout the universe also? The universe is so big. Why can't there exist within the universe places that are extremely comfortable, extremely luxurious, very rich and opulent? And why can't within the universe we can see places that are extremely miserable, torturous? And like even on this planet, we find there are places that are jails where people are punished and where people are rewarded. So why can't similar things exist all over the universe? Some section of the universe where people are punished for their sinful actions. That's what hellish planets are. If you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, last chapter, in the 5th canto, 26th chapter, you will find the whole chapter is describing the hellish planetary systems. There are 28 different types of hell. And Parikshit Maharaj is inquiring, what happens in each hell? So Shukdev Goswami describes the activities of each hell, how sinners are punished in hell. So after hearing all the description, Parikshit feels compassion for the sinners, the prisoners. He says, how can we deliver all of them? How can we deliver the sinful sinners from their punishment? So Shukdev Goswami says, then he starts describing the story of Ajamil. Ajamil was supposed to go to the hell and suffer there. But what saved him? The holy name saved him. Simply because he chanted the holy name, the name of Narayan. The Ajamil who was supposed to go to hell and suffer, he got delivered by the Vishnu Dutas. The Vishnu Dutas came to him at the time of death just because he accidentally chanted the name of Narayan, who was also his son. Son's name was Narayan. So because Lord Narayan's name was chanted, therefore he was saved from going to hell and suffer there. So our scriptures describe both heaven and hell. And they are not just imaginary concepts to create fear in people. They are actual places within the universe and geographical locations, and there are people, different kinds of people staying in these locations, depending on what kind of actions we have done in this life. If we are eligible, if we have done a lot of pious activities, punya karma, then we become eligible to go to heaven. If we have done regular karma, ordinary karma, then we come to earth and earthly planetary system. If we do sinful karma or vikarma, then we are sent to hell and we are punished there. So depending on our actions in this life, our destination in next life is decided. So let us not think that these are all simply stories and किसने देखा है, किसको पता नहीं ये है कि नहीं, सच है या झूठ है. Because it is explained in the Shastra, which we should know that they are all true. Nothing is imaginary here. Shukdev Goswami and Vyasdev won't waste their time in describing fiction and describing imaginary things. And Parikshit is not interested in listening to fictional stories like Harry Potter or any other scripture. He has to prepare for death. He's going to die in 7 days. So he is only interested in listening to real things, not imaginary things. So whenever you find someone challenging, heaven and hell such hai ya nahi, we should understand there are descriptions in the scriptures and you should talk to them, explain to them how these are all real true things. So in this way, Arjun is now ready to go to heaven. And after reaching heaven, he does a lot of things. He learns a lot of things and he does a lot of service to Indra. Indra in the heavenly planets also, he's attacked by demonic forces from various other parts of the universe. So Indra requests Arjun that you should help me conquer them. So how does Arjun help Indra? What are the demons he defeated, killed after reaching heavenly planets? How he, with the different demonic forces that were attacking Indra and heavenly planets, how Arjun conquered them? And after that, how he learned various mantras, what are the different incidents he had to face in the heavenly planets. We will see all those stories in our next session, next Saturday. So let us stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments? We can take a few of them, and then we will have a short quiz. Not a very big quiz today. Few questions. Gopal Lila Prabhu, are you ready? Are you there?
Just a minute. Haribol Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, are we having Kahoot today?
I had told him.
Okay, because I
Is he
checked
not
up with him in the morning. He was not too sure. He said no Kahoot.
Oh, acha.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
he's not on the chat also. I think there's some miscommunication.
Okay. Take, I had
Yeah.
sent him the question. Maybe he's not ready.
Sure, Prabhuji. We can take questions. Children, you can raise your hands, whoever wants to ask, and we'll take it up.
Haribol Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I am Naman Pandey. So I had this question. So why do many people, they know that because there are many scientists who become bhaktas, so why do they still believe in static energy and all of this? And so why do people do this even though they know that this has already been explained? So why do they just do this, all this?
Do what?
So they think that we have. So people say that the universe is increasing every second. Is that true?
At least according to the Bhagavatam, the size of the universe is explained, fixed. The diameter of the universe is given. The number of planetary systems within the universe is given. All those stuff. According to the Bhagavatam, this description is given. Now, what the scientists are
In which canto it is given?
in the 5th canto.
Which chapter?
Chapters, I will have to check somewhere in the middle. You will find that if you see the index, you will find all those things. But the point here is, look, even if what the scientists are saying are not completely matching with what the Bhagavatam is saying, we don't have to reject what the scientists are saying. One thing we need to remember that scientists are using, all the conclusions that the scientists are making may not be correct. Some things could be correct, but everything cannot be correct because
So Prabhuji,
ourselves.
So as we know that at many centuries ago, scientists used to believe in God. So now why don't scientists believe in God?
Why they don't believe in God? You have to ask them.
Because because I have read many stories in which explains that like in if you see Newton story, that when his friend said that God does not exist, and he had just to teach his friend a lesson, he had made a model of the solar system. And then the friend said that when he came and said that, oh my God, what a wonderful solar system! Who made this? You made, Newton. So Newton said that no, I did not make. When I looked behind my back, I saw the Big Bang happening, and it created on its own. So the friend said that he was now angry. He said that why are you joking? So Newton then explained him that if you can believe that I am the creator of this solar system, then there will be a creator who is the creator of this solar system in which we are living. Then they used to believe. So now why don't they believe?
That's a good question. Because they feel their theories can explain everything. They feel they can't see God, that means he doesn't exist. If God exists, if he is the one who has created the God, then at least there should be some people who can see God.
So
If
Prabhuji,
no one has seen God, if no one can see God, and if God doesn't come in front of us, that means he doesn't exist. That's
Hare
the
Krishna.
conclusion we have.
So Prabhuji, I have this very wonderful, so very short story, just a few minutes it might take. So once there was a very great professor, he was in his class teaching, and then he said that God doesn't exist. Once and he asked whoever has seen God or has feel God or smell God, he should raise his hands up. So no one raised. So one intelligent student rose up and he said, by your own logic, we can understand you don't have a mind. So the professor said, how can you say that? So the student asked to another student that, have you ever seen a professor's mind? He said no. And he asked another student and said, have you ever touched his mind? Then he also said no. And he asked another student and asked that, have you ever smelled his mind? Then he also said no. So then the student said, by your own logic, oh professor, we can understand that you have no mind.
Yeah, no brain. Correct. Yeah, so what can we do? All we can do is try to convince the professors, convince the scientists with nice logic and nice theory, explain to them. The general tendency of people is, if I cannot see something, I cannot believe in it. That's the general tendency people have. Although we
Main
can
saying goes like this: seeing is believing, but this is not true.
yeah, that is also true. Not exactly seeing is believing. They want to perceive it in some way, not necessarily with the eyes. Now they also know that everything we cannot see. They also believe in so many electromagnetic rays, X-rays, and so many other things are there which we cannot see. But scientists believe in those things because they can be perceived. They can be somehow sensed, either using other senses or using some instruments. So they also understand that seeing simply is not the reliable source of believing in something, but there should be some way we can detect it, we can perceive it. And if none of the five senses, if none of the instruments can help us perceive the existence of God, then how can we say there is God? That's the argument they are giving. So what we have to tell them is, God is beyond the reach of our senses. Our senses have a limitation. Either eyes, nose, touch, taste, and smell. All of these senses have a limitation. So if you are trying to perceive the existence of God through these senses or some other devices which will again use these senses, then we have a limitation. Our range of these senses have a limitation. And God is known as Adhokshaja. Adhokshaja means someone who is beyond the reach of our mind, intelligence, and senses. That's why he is called God. Prabhupada used to give the example of a Dr. Frog. You have heard this story? There was this frog inside a well, and he was thinking, I am the king of the well. And he would do all kinds of dadagiri inside the well. So one day another frog came into this well. This ocean, Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean से ये well के अंदर आ गया. And he started telling the stories of all the incidents that were happening inside the ocean. So this old frog, the Dadagiri wala frog, he said, come on, what are you talking about Atlantic Ocean? There is no such thing as Atlantic Ocean. So this the new frog said, come on, I have seen the ocean. I was living in the ocean. How can you say it is not there? So this old frog said, come on, then show me. But he said, you cannot see from here. I will describe to you what the ocean is. He said, the ocean is this huge, unlimited water is there. This old frog said, Acha, unlimited matlab kitna? Is it bigger than the well? He said, come on, The well is nothing, it is too big. So this old frog said, too big means what? 10 times bigger, 20 times bigger, 100 times bigger. How big is it? So this new frog said, come on, you cannot calculate. The unlimitedly big, infinitely big. You cannot compare it with your small, tiny well. So this old frog could never understand imagine the size of the ocean, because he was calculating the ocean size based on his well. So his reference of calculation was the well, tiny little well that he has seen. He cannot, so within this tiny limited well, you cannot imagine the infinite. You have to hear from someone who has seen the infinite, who has experienced the infinite. And you cannot calculate the size of the infinite, the qualities of the infinite, the range of the infinite, using the tiny calculation of your well. So that's what the scientists are trying to do. They have some little experience of this universe, this little world, some discoveries and some inventions they have made, and they think that's all in all. And they are trying to calculate and measure the infinite, who is beyond the universe, beyond the reach of the senses, using the experiences they have gained inside the well, inside this world. That is not going to happen. They can never be successful. You have to hear about God from authoritative sources, from the scripture, from people, saints and sages who have experienced God, who have realized God. But then when we hear from them and we have faith in them, then we start slowly understanding the nature of God, the qualities of God. If we don't accept them like the scientists, then we are like the Dr. Frog inside the well. We may have different kinds of PhDs and all kinds of degrees, but our PhDs have no value, because what we are trying to understand is something beyond the universe, infinitely beyond the universe. Is that clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So you should tell this example. Anyone who challenges the existence of God, you should give this example of Dr. Frog inside the well and the other frog who came from the ocean. Then they will understand what they are. Any other question, comment?
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes.
I heard in a lecture that the Kauravas are called Kauravas because they belong to the Kuru dynasty, but Pandavas also are Kurus. So how?
Yeah, that was Dhritarashtra's discrimination. If you remember the Gita, first verse, Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakurvata sante. So Dhritarashtra there, he's discriminating my sons and the sons of Pandu. So ideally he should have said, both are my sons, because he is a king. He is supposed to treat everyone equally. But there he makes a distinction. Pandavas, the sons of Pandu are different and my sons are different. So from there the term came, Pandavas and Kauravas, the two identities got separated. Although Pandavas are also Kauravas, they are also the descendants of Kuru, but still among the Kauravas, the Pandavas were separated. And the Duryodhana party were continued to be known as Kauravas. Of course, after the Kurukshetra war, when everyone was killed, only Pandavas were left. Then they were the only Kauravas in the planet. And later the Pandavas also retired. And the only Kaurava who remained was Parikshit, the only Kuru descendant. So Parikshit was the only Kaurava left after the Mahabharat war. So yes, you are right. Both are actually Kauravas, but then this distinction was made.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else wants to say anything before we wind up?
1 second. Prabhuji, I think Sneha has a question. Sneha, you have a question? Yeah, speak.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Yes. So Prabhuji, after Parikshit Maharaj, the generation not continued of Kauravas.
Yes, continued. Parikshit's son was Janamejaya. I think he had a couple of sons. Janameja became the king. So he was the Kaurava. Then Janameja's son became the king when he retired. So in this way, the descendants continued. But whether they continue to use the term Kaurava, we don't know. Maybe they used, but we don't have any major incidents recorded about their activities and lifestyle. Parikshit's recorded is there. Janameja's activities are little bit recorded. But after that, not much information is available with us. So yeah, they may have used the term Kaurava. Okay, so I think we can stop here. There is no Kahoot quiz today. I think Gopalila is not ready. We can do it next time based on today's session and last week's session. So prepare nicely, and then we will have a nice Kahoot quiz next Saturday. Okay, thank you so much for your kind attention and nice participation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna
Dandavat.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hari Bol, everyone.